In the high-stakes game of war, we're always thinking about who has the better weapons. But what if the deadliest weapon isn't a weapon at all? What if it's just a really, really good lie? I mean, what's the one thing that can completely neutralize an enemy's strength, throw their plans into chaos, and maybe even win the battle before a single shot is fired? Let's dig into it. Is it the brute force of a tank, just raw power rolling across the battlefield? Or is it the sheer destructive power of a bomber, that overwhelming force coming from the sky? Or is it something way more subtle and maybe infinitely more powerful? A lie. The master strategist Sun Tzu said it thousands of years ago. All warfare is based on deception. So let's kick things off with one of the wildest, most audacious deceptions in all of history. Seriously, this is a story that sounds like it was ripped straight out of a Hollywood movie, but it absolutely changed the entire course of World War II. Okay, so picture this. It's 1943. The Allies have just kicked the Axis powers out of North Africa. The next big move? Invading Europe itself. And the most logical place to start, the perfect stepping stone, is the island of Sicily. The only problem is it's so obvious that the Germans know it too. It is probably the most heavily defended spot in the entire Mediterranean. They are just waiting. So how do you attack the one place that everybody knows you're going to attack? Well, you come up with a plan that is so morbidly brilliant, it's borderline insane. It was called Operation Mincemeat. And the plan was this: take a dead body, give him a totally fake identity, stuff his pockets with false invasion plans, and then just let him wash ashore in neutral Spain, where German intelligence will find him. The level of detail here was just unbelievable. The British didn't just invent a fake officer. They invented a fake life. They called him Major William Martin, and they filled his pockets with what they called pocket litter. We're talking ticket stubs from a play, an angry letter from his dad, even a love letter from his made-up fiancée, Pam. They literally built an entire person out of thin air. And it worked. Oh man, did it work. The Germans found the body, they found the documents pointing to an invasion of Greece and Sardinia, and they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Hitler himself personally ordered tank divisions to be moved away from Sicily. So when the Allies finally landed, they met way less resistance than they ever expected. Thousands of lives were saved, all because of one man who never even existed. But here's the thing. Operation Mincemeat wasn't just some lucky shot in the dark. Nope. It was a masterclass in executing a very specific set of principles, a kind of deceiver's playbook that's been in use for centuries. So why was it so successful? What's the actual psychology that makes a lie like this work? Well, it turns out there are rules to this game, and the first one is actually surprisingly simple. It all starts with something called Magruder's principle. It's named after a Confederate general who famously used Quaker guns, which were just logs painted black to look like cannons, to trick Union forces into thinking his army was way bigger than it actually was. Now here is the absolute key to this principle. You don't try to sell your enemy a brand new idea. Instead, you just confirm something they already secretly believe. See, the German high command was already paranoid about a potential Allied attack in Greece. Operation Mincemeat just gave them the proof that they were already looking for. And once you know about this principle, you start seeing it everywhere, all throughout history. It is a truly timeless strategy of misdirection. Think about it. The Trojan horse? It worked because the Trojans wanted to believe they had received a gift from the gods. The Mongols? They made their armies look massive by having every soldier light 5 campfires, playing right into their enemy's terror of the Mongol horde. And in World War II, you had the US Ghost Army, using inflatable tanks and sound effects to create entire fake divisions. And look, this isn't just random guesswork anymore. Today, military planners have basically turned deception into a science. They have a literal formula for how to construct the perfect lie. It's this really clever framework called see, think, do. But here's the trick. Planners use it in reverse. They start at the end. First, you decide what you want the enemy to do. Then you figure out what they have to think to get them to do that. And finally, you work out what they need to see to make them think that thought. Okay, let's apply this to the biggest military deception of all time. Operation Bodyguard, the plan to protect the D-Day landings. The do. Keep Germany's toughest troops stuck at Pas de Calais. The think. Convince them the main invasion is definitely coming at Calais, not Normandy. And the see. a massive, completely fake army in southeast England, with fake radio chatter, inflatable tanks, and even General George Patton placed in command, because the Germans were convinced he would be the one to lead the real invasion. Now, this whole art of the lie didn't just stop when World War II ended. Of course not. It just evolved. It's adapted to new technologies and completely new kinds of conflict. So in 1944, the Allies used a phantom army to pin German forces down. Fast forward about 50 years to the 1991 Gulf War. The coalition faked a huge amphibious landing on the coast of Kuwait. It totally convinced the Iraqis to focus all their attention on the coast, which meant they completely missed the real attack, a gigantic armored left hook that just swept right through the empty desert. Same principle, totally different battlefield. And this game is still being played right now. In 2006, Hezbollah built these elaborate fake bunkers just to draw Israeli fire away from their actual positions. And more recently, it's been reported that Hamas trained for its 2023 attack right out in the open, conditioning observers to see all this activity as just routine drills, not the real thing. Deception works best when it's hidden in plain sight, turning an enemy's own assumptions against them. Which, of course, brings us to one final, really big question. In our world of spy satellites and 24/7 surveillance, you'd think that this kind of large-scale deception would be impossible. But maybe that's exactly what makes it so powerful now. In an ocean of information, maybe the most effective lie isn't a whisper. It's a shout, right out in broad daylight, that no one even thinks to question. The next great deception could be happening right now, and we just don't see it.